We're going to look at some Civil 3D labeling creations and the styles to create those labels. Um, Most of the label styles are created in our template drawing, but almost every project may require some form of customization. And so I wanted to kind of go through some of the nuances of creating Civil 3D labels. So a label is kind of a piece of text that's smart. It can rotate to the view. It can be locked to the world coordinate system. The size is the same way. It can be resized according to the model viewport scale and so on and so forth. So as we go into this and we start creating these styles, we have to know some things about text in AutoCAD. And here's a piece of text. There's this bounding box around the edges of the text, the limits of the text. And so the justification tabs are going to be top left, top center, top right, middle left, middle center, middle right, left, center, right, and bottom left, bottom center, and bottom right. So when we go to General, we go to Labels, and we're going to create a new label. Let's go Create New. We can call this, just for lack of a better word, Label. We always set it to the simplex style. This is where it can be oriented to an object, to the view, or to the world coordinate system. If you want it to always be horizontal, no matter what your D-view twist is, then it needs to be set there. Pieces of text or labels that you want to have them remain at their the world coordinate system, you need here. When you use objects, these are labels that represent like lines and slopes and things like that, that you want it to be oriented to the object, to the line, or to the curve that they are associated with. When we go to layout, we can connect multiple pieces of text together. And so usually we would say this is text, okay? And we'd say okay there. I'm going to turn off the border visibility. And when I plunk this in, it looks like that. But sometimes we need to take different components and glue them together. This is when these attachment points become necessary to understand. So once again, we're going to go back into this one, and we're going to edit the current selection. And we're going to put multiple components in this this label style. I'm going to put it back to Note. And it only has one component, and it's text. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it text1. I'm going to add another text component. It may represent something different. It'll be text2. And a third text component. We'll say text3. So we can see up here in this preview that they're all kind of coming on top of one another. So if the text1 is connected to, let's say, a feature, and the anchor point is middle center, it's not going to work out very well because you don't know how long text1 is going to be, the actual information in text1. So we're going to make this this. The second one is going to be text2 is going to be is, excuse me. And the third one is going to be text. to represent our original scenario. So I want this to read, this is text in a normal fashion, but they could be different components that reference different things and stuff like that. What we have to know is the anchor point of text 1, if it were the right side, let's say bottom right side, and then text 2 is connected to text 1 at the bottom left side. Let's go back to text 1. The bottom right, attachment point. Oh, that's the anchor point. I'm sorry. We want the bottom right here. We want to go to text 2, and this should be the bottom left. We want to go the bottom right to the bottom left. So the name is text 2, it's anchored to text 1, and so we may have to work with this a little bit. We'll go to text 3, and we want to connect that to text 2, wherever that's at the bottom right, and we want to use the bottom left. Now there's one problem with this. We're going to go back to text 1, and we're going to say the bottom right, oh, the bottom left, bottom left. The anchor point actually does not matter if we say the bottom right. Let's look at this before we go too far. So we see an offset in this, but when we select one of these and say this is going to be, it tends to automatically adjust. Now the second component, instead of is, some text that I have typed. Whoops, sorry about that. Learn how to. So there's still a little bit of an offset here, and so we do need to fix that. But this is 3 individual labels that I want to read as one continuous label. And what I'm doing is I need to take a component, whatever it is. It could be the middle left, it could be the bottom left. I'm just using the bottom right and the bottom left. The bottom right of this one goes to the bottom left of this one, and the bottom right of this one goes to the bottom left of that one. I'm just chaining these together. You can use top left and top right. You can use middle left and middle right, so on and so forth. So knowing this, we go back to ours, and we're going to have to change this a little bit. And so we're going to go to the anchor point. I don't believe matters, but it's the middle right. Okay, so it's the bottom right that I need to show here, text height is that, this. Okay, then we'll go to the second one, and I think the problem is between text 1 and text 2. So bottom right, bottom left, there are no offsets. So if I say middle right and middle left, that looks like it works better. So now I have three components making up this one sentence. And that's how you create these styles if they have multiple components in it. And this happens to be the same way. You probably wouldn't do this. Well, actually, there are times when you have to string them together in a horizontal fashion. Most of the time, it's of a nature that you would use this guy, and it would be like this. And so in this case, you would link these two together, if you will, and these two together. Whoops. In this case. But if you're going to do a string, you need to do it this way. If you're going to do it in the stacked direction, you need to correctly correct all of these pieces correctly.